Hello, and welcome to Soul Aligned CEO Podcast, the show that shares the stories of entrepreneurs from all around the world who have started businesses and they are doing that soul aligned. I'm your host, Jenny Morey, and today I am so excited to welcome Kelsey Morgan. She is the CEO of Creating Light. Welcome, Kelsey.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So I thought we could share a little bit with the audience about what you are currently offering with your business before we dive into more details of your journey.
Yeah, I'm focusing on two offerings right now, and one is a bigger offering and more of an investment, but I'm just calling in 6 people for an 8-month container, and we'll be doing somatic activated healing, which we'll be talking about on today's episode, expressive art, journaling, and dream documentation. And then the other offering I'm working on is freeing up some time to do live somatic activated healing classes virtually once a week, and that will be donation
Okay.
based.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. All right. So we will definitely talk more about all of that. So I just wanted to give everyone an overview of what we will be discussing in today's episode. So we're going to go over your journey, kind of what you were doing before you got into somatic activated healing and what led you to choose this modality to learn more about, and then how you decided to actually pursue starting a business and sharing this with the world. Then I really want to dive in and just help people to understand a little bit more about what is somatic activated healing, because I don't know that it's something that a lot of people are familiar with. So I want to talk about the foundation and what it can be used for. And then also how someone can kind of recognize within their own body, like, are they experiencing pain? Could that pain be, tied to certain emotions, and how they can use movement to kind of work through that and heal their pain. So those are kind of the main topics that we're going to be going over today. And then at the end, Kelsey is going to walk us through a somatic exercise of shaking to help us with our nervous system. And so everybody can participate in that. So make sure you stay tuned till the end when we do that exercise. And I do just want to mention, because of the topics today, that anything that we're discussing is not medical advice, and to always talk to your own medical practitioner. So, all right. So let's get started a little bit about, what you were doing professionally kind of before you got into the somatic activated healing. You had mentioned to me that you were working in expressive art.
Yeah, my foundational training was art therapy. So I have my master's in art therapy and counseling, and that's where I started. So I have a very extensive trauma informed background, and it worked a lot with the unconscious mind, which I loved and went already deeper than talk therapy alone, but it was just still more mind based work.
Got it. So then what kind of happened, with either your life or kind of in your professional world to lead you to kind of make the decision that you wanted to make a change and kind of transition to something different?
It felt like a little bit of a slow burn of something tugging at me to do something different or a little bit of a change, and then I hit like a hard pay attention, this is not
Okay.
working anymore. It started like the slow burn was being in session with people, and I could physically see and notice progress in the work that we were doing, but I could also notice that certain trauma and emotions were still stuck inside of them. It wasn't being fully felt through. We were
Mm,
becoming aware of it, which is great, and rewiring certain stories, but stuff was still stuck, and they were repeating the same thing. So that's where I was thinking, okay, I need to be more in the body. Like something's with the body. We're still not as connected as I want to be. And I was finding myself not really enjoying what I was doing anymore. Like I loved the work. I loved
mm-hmm,
going deep with people, but then I just was also feeling drained
mm,
and didn't know why. And
got
it
it.
was just with art.
So you mentioned about the body. So then what
Mhm.
kind of cued you into like, okay, hey, this needs to also be included in the type of work that I'm doing?
Yeah, that was intuition based, was something else needs to happen here, and I didn't know what. I didn't know what was
Mm,
out there. I mean, I know there's plenty of certifications, energy healing things, but I want it to be more literal body based versus something like Reiki.
mm. Okay. Got it. And so then how did you come across this somatic activated healing? It's kind of a mouthful to say.
Yeah, so the creator of it is Sadi Simone, and so that's
Okay.
what he is the founder of Somatic Activated Healing, and he is just starting to release it now to where he's teaching teachers to be able to do
Mm,
it. Because
okay.
before he was just offering the medicine, and now
Mm,
he's able to certify people to do it themselves and help others.
okay.
So I had actually been following him for years, but didn't know what he did. I just liked his energy and being in his
Mm,
presence on social media. And then one day I was on my way to actually look at an office studio to rent to host more sessions for art therapy, and I got in a car accident on the way
oh,
there.
oh
So
gosh.
that was the hard
The
stop
hard stop.
because I kept like
Okay.
searching of maybe I need to be in a different location or be more on my own, more independent because whatever's happening, it's not working. I'm not liking how I'm showing up.
Right.
And so I was on the way to try to do something different and then the car accident was like quit it. Like
Oh
you
my
need to
gosh.
stop working
Right.
this
A-
way.
And so did you realize that kind of after that had
I
happened?
did. It was that night because then I was just sitting in my room thinking, like, I don't. What am I supposed to do?
Oh
Like, I
no.
know I need to go somewhere different. I need to be a healer of some sort. I need to
Right.
be deeper in the way that I'm working with people and their emotions, a feelings based. And then I opened up my phone and an ad popped up for Sadi Simone
Mm.
opening up teacher training, and I signed up literally that night.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's quite the very apparent like push
Yeah.
and nudge. Like, stop this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you're okay. And,
Yeah,
that nothing
you're
was
okay
serious
now.
with the accident.
Minor accident. Had
Right.
got some things going on, but we flipped it back around
Yeah.
eventually.
That's interesting, though, how, something greater than us can often come into play to
Hmm.
help really direct us and our path. And so
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people don't listen, to the nudges. We all
Yes.
feel them, and so that's really interesting.
And
And
that's
that's
what I
really
was feeling was the nudges when I was in
mm,
session of man, I'm feeling drained, even though I like holding a healing space like this in this depth, but why am I still feeling drained? This doesn't make
right,
sense.
right, right. Okay. So then you signed up for this program. And
Hmm.
so then you went through and kind of learned the different tools and modalities. Were you planning then on starting a business? Like, was that your intention kind of when you went into it?
Yeah, I already had my LLC with Creating Light and I was just contracting places as an art
Mhm.
therapist. And then this was kind of more of the push of you don't need that anymore because this
Mm,
certification opens up. I can see everyone outside of the state, outside of the nation. I can see anyone that I
got
want.
it.
And then I don't have to be under certain regulations. And it was like, you can do this all on your own.
Got it.
And that was
Okay.
also another push of stop relying on other people to provide you income. Trust yourself that you can do
Right.
this, that you can hold this, and call the people in.
Wow. That's really incredible. And that you had kind of the trust, in yourself, in that knowing, to pursue something. So how was it going through the program?
It was a whole initiation.
Yeah.
I knew it would be. It opened up my mind, body, spirit, soul, all of that. There was a lot of the trauma informed care that he talked about I already knew, and
Mm,
looking through the world through the lens of compassion, and that the instilling, like teaching us, which was a core belief I already have, and that's how I knew I was like, this is so aligned with what I'm meant to be doing. that no one is innately evil. So you're looking at them through the eyes of, these are humans, these are souls living a human experience,
Hmm.
and we've all gone through such hardships that
Right.
change and warp how we show up into the world. So once we can tap into that and help them unlock that within their body, everything can change.
Wow. That's it's so interesting to me. Before talking to you, I was not aware of this modality, so I have really enjoyed learning more about it. And so I thought we would next kind of just go into the foundation a little bit and share with everybody really what is this somatic activated healing
Yeah.
because it's kind of a big word, and what does it really comprise of, and what is really like the objective of doing this type of practice?
Yeah, so it's really learning about how to come back into the body. Because
Mm.
this Western world that we live in, we are just fed disconnection all the time, disconnection and distraction. There's so many things that are going on
Hmm.
that pull you away from yourselves, which is why people can feel lost. And so
Hmm.
that's the premise of it, is to learn to come back into the body,
Got
start
it.
to feel the sensations and what's going on, and then become a master of your inner world, not being afraid of feelings anymore. And then you get to learn that a feeling is temporary. All feelings are temporary.
Oh,
And then
okay.
you allow them to come up and through you. And so with so for short, it's also called SAW method. So Somatic Activated Healing, SAH. So SAW method.
Okay.
Segment, and how we like would teach people to do that is, it's broken down into different components. So it's made up of meditation, mantras, breath work, somatic movement, and a static dance put
Mm.
into a segment or a class. And while you're doing that is the active practice of being in the body and
Got it.
recognizing what's happening inside and being familiar with emotions and sensations. But it's just a small piece of the day that we ask you to do that, and it's there's a start point and an end point, so and have that awareness of like, okay, I can do this for a short amount of time, and I'm learning a little
Right.
bit about my body. And then there's specific somatic moves that tap into the emotions that we carry in the body too. So that's when I'm saying like unlocking, like I know specific moves to have you do. You won't really know anything, but you know it's moving stuff, and then that's all you need to know.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really interesting. Now, you mentioned something about trauma informed care. Can you
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit about that and like why it's important, kind of compared to maybe what people are familiar with maybe kind of mainstream talk therapy, where you're constantly, rehashing the story and that kind of thing? Like, how is this type of healing and modality different?
Yes, that's what really glitched my brain out when Saw was teaching us this. The tagline is like, drop the story, be with the feeling. And I
Mm,
just kind of was like, what do you mean? Because my training is to be with the story and to
right.
listen to people talk about it. And that's how that trauma informed part comes in more, is that because anytime you're retelling a story, you're opening that wound. It depends
Right.
on the detail. Like if you're really going into it, it can cause way more harm than good. And with this and somatic activated healing, you don't have to go back to the past. Like you don't even have to know. All you have to know right now is, I don't feel good. Something's
Okay.
going on. And with practitioners, we see that and we know that, and we know how to delicately guide you within movement as
Right.
well. And that's the trauma informed part too, is we wouldn't just throw you into something
Hmm.
movement wise that's going to crack you open without any repair afterwards. And that's can be dangerous with certain healers out there that don't have that trauma informed care, and they just like go all in.
Right. And you're
So
like hashing something up. Yeah.
exactly. So we have that discernment of understanding the mechanics with emotions and the body and
Mm.
the nervous system, of like how to elegantly guide someone.
Hmm. I mean, I think that that's really appealing because one of the things that at least I think becomes difficult with kind of traditional talk therapy and kind of continually like hashing things out. How does that make you feel? What did you think about that? What were they, all of this, like on and on and on. Like I can almost feel my body get tense.
Mm-hmm.
Even I don't go to those types of sessions anymore, but I mean, that's what's really kind of appealing for me personally about this is, yeah, I don't need to rehash. Like, I really love what you were saying about like, let go of the story, focus on the emotion that you're actually feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And
And that's
so,
where people can feel lost and stuck because if they have a foggy memory or don't even know why or feel that they haven't even gone through quote unquote significant trauma, like bad
mhm,
enough trauma, but yet they don't know why they're feeling so heavy. That is the thing too. Like they try to search these things and these stories and whys
right,
and find a why. But when
right.
you're doing somatic work, that doesn't even matter. All that matters is like, okay, well, this is how you're feeling. Well, let's work with that. Let's
Work through
move,
it.
and it will move out of you.
So in the present, like right
Mm-hmm.
now,
Yeah.
let's kind of, yeah, I really love that. Like I'm looking forward to your classes,
Yeah.
your virtual classes that you're
Yes.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Sustainability. It's gonna happen. Gotta find time
so
in the schedule.
yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about the types of exercise. So you mentioned like kind of meditation and breath work and movement and dancing and it's like a combination of different things that you would do
Mhm.
in a session. And
Yes.
so there's
Every session has those same modalities in it. So
mm,
it's five healing modalities packed into one, and that's what creates somatic activated healing. So again, it's the meditation, breath work, mantras, somatic movement, and ecstatic dance.
got it. Okay. And so you kind of go through a progression like in a session.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start your virtual sessions, you would kind of start kind of at a like a beginner like level for like a lack of a better way to put it. Is there like a progression of like once you have practiced this for a while, you can kind of layer on and add
Yeah,
additional
it can
things or
be different intensity wise, is like
mm,
how fast I'm asking someone to move or how slow, because that will kind of crack people open in different ways. But it's also everyone will always still have authority over their own body. So if I'm guiding someone and I'm like, let's go faster, let's do this, and your body's saying like, I don't think so. You get to decide, and that's okay too. And
okay.
it doesn't mean that it's not working.
Got it. Okay. That's good to know. So let's talk a little bit about, I think something that most people can relate to is just the pain that we have on a day to day in our body, especially kind of in this online virtual world that a lot of us live in now. It's like neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, like everyone has. Like all kinds of pain that can be for many different reasons. And again, this isn't medical advice, but how could someone, maybe potentially know if they have different emotions that could be kind of trapped and causing certain pains.
As long as you start to open your mind and get curious about it, you'll start to see that everything is interconnected and
Mm,
it starts to make more sense. So, again, like, yes, we always have these medical doctors to help us along the way too if we need it. But if we can take that first accountability of becoming more aware of what's going on inside, we could kind of not have to automatically outsource.
mm,
So for me right now, like perfect life example is I am going through a lot of transitions and there's things that I needed to speak up on and speak my truth and make sure that things were shifting in this now moment.
hmm
And some of the stuff was out of my control. So I couldn't speak up right away when I wanted to. And within that waiting period, there was that moment like my own somatic practice kind of slipped just ever so slightly. And then I had a sore throat. But I already had this
mm,
awareness of I have this issue that is taking a big toll on me emotionally. And I need to speak up. I need to confront it. I need to say what I need to say. But because I was in that waiting period, it manifested as a sore throat.
Mm.
And I'm still
Okay.
feeling it. And it's like now this congestion's going on. And I was so fatigued yesterday and tired and needed to rest. And I could already tell, I'm like, man, this is so wild that the somatically, if that is for me, if that is not
Mm-hmm.
up, if I'm not doing that on a regular basis, how quickly things can manifest as some sickness in my body.
Right. So then, so now you're experiencing this kind of congestion and sore throat. And so then, the types of things that you need to get back doing to
Mhm.
kind of release that, like from your body.
Yeah. Yeah, and other examples, like, I mean, with the car accident, I had a lot of lower back stuff going on. And with my background and knowing things about the chakras, like that's around the sacral chakra, which can be tied to worthiness, self worth. And at that
Mm-hmm.
time, like now I have this perspective and awareness, and like going back, I was in that part of my healing journey really working on self worth. And then I'm in a car accident and my lower back is
Mm-hmm.
injured. And that is
Right.
just, to me, that's what I'm saying is the interconnectedness. Like it's not a coincidence. Like things that are happening in the inner world will show up in your exterior world to help you kind of pay attention of this is what's happening inside and in your body. And this is where we're asking you to take a look at, get familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
befriend, seek help, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just tend to.
It's so important. And I think, like you mentioned earlier, just in today's world, everyone is on, go, 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 do this, go here, hustle, work, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like so much, like it's almost like a competition of like how much can you push yourself like through things, and I
Yes.
think as more people start to kind of deepen their connection with themselves and kind of just mind, body, spirit in general. I know for me, it's like I'm hyper aware of if like I'm having neck pain or shoulder pain. And my, go to is like, oh, well, I should probably go to the chiropractor. But this, since talking with you, that's why this has become really interesting to me because I'm curious, what emotions, could I be holding on to that are just causing like kind of constant neck, shoulder, like tightness, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's something probably that many people can relate to. And so would doing this type of practice, potentially help, with something like that?
Yeah, and that's the wellness part of it. Like if you're tying this into that, because still going to the chiropractor
Mm-hmm.
is great, but if it's something that you can still that you notice of man,
Right.
but emotionally that is still here, then you tie in this and it being a
Mm-hmm.
more regular thing for you, stuff changes because your body feels held in a certain way and you're taking care of the needs. So it doesn't have to poke at you through minor physical ailments like
Mm.
that to get you to pay attention because you're already paying attention.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I think it's really interesting, and I'm really, excited for people to learn about this. So what other things, like, how would someone know, hey, I should sign up for Kelsey's class? Like, can really anybody
Yeah,
sign up and participate,
anybody,
or okay,
any part of the healing journey, any issues that you're currently
any
working with.
fitness level? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because that if there's specific disabilities, I can already
Mm-hmm.
adjust it to help you in certain ways. Because there's a lot of people with chronic pain and they cannot do high intensity things because it just takes it out
Mm-hmm.
of them. They're physically not capable, but that doesn't mean that you can't do the SAW method. It's totally
Got it.
adaptable. Um, but as far
Okay.
as, but really with the healing journey and anybody of who it's for, anyone, because we all have emotions, we all have stuff, we all have hardships.
Right.
And if you're feeling just heavy, stuck, wanting a change, wanting to feel more free, wanting to feel more connected, that is definitely a pull of, okay, maybe I should try this somatic stuff.
And so with your longer container that you're putting together, what types of things would people kind of be experiencing, kind of in their lives? Like maybe they're at a breaking point, and maybe nothing else is working. Would joining something like that be recommended?
Yeah, so the longer container is if you're ready for a complete transformation of
Okay.
your life and like inner world. And it can be for any, I mean, if you feel called to it, like that's what I believe. Like if you're feeling called to it, definitely just message me on Instagram. I'm like curating it on the actual platform, the
Hmm.
lovely back end things of this. Um, but that will be like 2 SAW method classes a week, doing art on a weekly
Okay.
basis and documenting your dreams, and we're diving into the symbolism of that. And it's just, you are really understanding your inner world and taking accountability for your emotions and not being imprisoned by it anymore. But that's why it's so
Mm.
long, because it takes time to do it. It's not a quick fix, because that's not even real anyway. It's teaching you
Right.
how to
Right.
actually live in throughout your life to not be so warped up in all of it anymore. Like you
Mm.
can really be free of the suffering.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really beautiful. How did it come to you to kind of put together something like
Oh
this,
my gosh,
this
this has
long?
been like a 5 year journey. It first came to me when I was in grad school, because to
Mm.
graduate with your art therapy degree, you had to conduct a study and write a thesis. And it originally started as that. Like this was the study that I made,
Oh, okay.
and then I did it on myself first, because that was just a direct message of, you have to do it on yourself first before you guide other people to do this stuff. Like you
Right.
better show up and do
Experience
this.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was shorter then, and took some time off. I did it with a couple clients on an individual basis. Then I completely
Hmm.
restructured it to have a course, have it longer, because I learned a lot of things of the trial and error process. And then now I feel ready to hold a group versus just on an individual basis for this specific container.
Got it. And you said that that's something that you're putting together to start at the beginning of next year?
Yeah, January
Okay.
20th will be the start date.
Okay. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has just been so interesting. Just learning about this new type of modality and kind of just diving into, how could it potentially help people? Because that's something that's so important, is to just give people options and alternatives, and, not be afraid to like try something different. So I'm really happy that we're able to talk about this. Let's talk a little bit more, though, about the business aspect of all of this, because, going in and, learning all of this, and you can feel how like passionate you are about it. How has it been kind of taking that leap into like, now I'm going to do this as a business and I'm going to go for it?
Man, I'm in it right now. It's the like just ultimate surrender. Like before, when I first started the LLC and then contracting and doing the things as an art therapist, like I thought I was in the unknown and surrendering, but now is a whole other layer of just trust, and I'm being like constantly pushed to my edges. And
Hmm.
it's just, but then you get to see, like you really do get to create whatever you want.
Hmm.
And
And
when
be
you come
aligned.
back to that, is like,
Yeah.
how do you want to help people? What do you want to make? And you can make it and put it out into the world. You just have to show up like consistently so people know who the heck you are.
Right. And how does it feel for you to be doing something that you are aligned with and passionate about?
It feels great now. It feels so freeing. Like I know there comes a point when you like fully land in it and you're like, yes, this is it. This is what I'm going to
Hmm.
just be here doing and continually talking about, and it's always going to evolve. But when you have that knowing, you become excited to show up
Right.
every day. And then really being in the unknown is just you land in a different level of trust when you know that you're doing your purpose work. Because it doesn't,
Right.
if you can't get a grip on anything ever and it's going so like months and months and months, then you may need to be like, maybe I'm not fully in my purpose work. But if you are, the unknown is
Right.
not as scary. Like you still have waves, but it's just
Mm,
you get to be you.
right. And you probably feel good in your body,
Yeah, and it's
like
so
doing this kind of work.
for real. And it's wild when you like ask like, oh, how does it feel to, love what you do? That was another
Right.
indicator, was near the end when I was being asked to fully let go of just being the art therapist. Clients were
Hmm.
coming to me and being like, wow, you have such a great office. Like, you have a great view. You're on the water. You made it. How does it feel to be doing something you love every day? And I'm looking at them. I'm like, I hate this.
Right.
Like, I actually should. This sounds great on paper, but like, why does my soul feel like it's
Right.
dying right now? And so that's just a testament of like, okay, I still love seeing people in this depth and helping them with their trauma and their body and transforming in that way. But it just, I needed to do something a little different, like going from unconscious, we still do unconscious work, but like the body, and it makes a world of difference. Of now I can answer that
Right.
question and be like, yes, I do actually love
Right.
what I'm doing.
That's great. I mean, and
Yeah,
that's really the whole premise of this podcast, is to really shine a light on people that, are pursuing what they truly, truly love, not what
mm-hmm.
they're supposed to be
Right.
loving, and finding that balance and passion. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So I thought that we could do a really simple exercise if you're up for it.
Yes. So we'll
Okay.
do
And I have,
we'll just do a little bit of shaking. So most
okay.
people are probably listening. I'm just gonna
Right.
pull up a timer real quick so we can just do something like quick 30-second.
Okay.
And normally you can just put on anything, any type of music, any type of song that you absolutely love that's
Okay.
upbeat. So with the shaking, this is like a core element within the SAW method. We do it right at the beginning because it's the thing that drops you into your body. So you're shaking off the day, you're shaking off the stress. So then when you move into the somatic movements, you're more clear. And just
Okay.
shaking the body, putting on a song and shaking is something that someone can do on their own anytime throughout the day, and it's a great emotional regulation tool when you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, don't even know why you're feeling what you're feeling. Do this, and it heals. It also heals the trauma
Okay.
responses of freeze and fight and flight within the nervous system. This is just a great like core base
Okay.
in any somatic work. So
Okay. All
I'll
right.
ask you to stand up, and everyone listening can
I'm
stand
going to
up.
stand up.
Yeah, if you want to stand up,
I
definitely
don't know if
stand
I'll
up
be in the,
if you're able to stand up,
I'm like,
and
I don't know if I'll
then
be in the frame.
you will just be, so you'll just start shaking, moving your shoulders, keeping your wrist loose, and going like super fast with your wrist, and then shaking your hips back and forth. And then if you can, just like bring in a little bounce, like literally bouncing up and down off your toes, and then lifting your shoulders up and down. And
Okay.
it's gonna feel silly, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to feel
Right.
silly, uncomfy, like shaking your head back and forth. And
Oh, just
with the
cracked my neck.
music, cracking your neck, you're
Right.
creating space in the body. Okay, and you can come and sit
Right.
back down.
Okay.
And then quickly, as you sit back down, I invite you then to just close your eyes or lower your gaze. And then you're just going to be breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And just notice what's happening in your body right now. So we were sitting, listening, chilling, and then we got up and shook around. And now we're sitting back down, and notice what's changed in your body. Notice the difference in your heartbeat, the quality of your breath, the
Mm-hmm.
temperature of your body, if you notice any tightness,
Mm-hmm.
and
Def-
just bring attention to it.
I definitely feel like that, even just that little bit of shaking, like it just kind of loosened me up a little bit.
Yeah, and just allow it all to be, and you can open your eyes whenever you're ready. That was like a one
Yeah, I'm
minute,
excited for
2 minute thing.
right. No, I mean, and that's true because, and especially when someone's like working all day long, like, would that be something, just like we did now, would that be something that people could do? Like, if they are on the computer, and starting to feel like that tension and like stressed and deadlines and like all that kind of stuff, they could just get up and like do something like that for a
Yeah,
minute, right?
even in the middle of the day, if you're just staring at your computer and
Mhm.
you're like, I cannot even think anymore. I don't even know what the heck is going on. That's a great
Right,
time to just pause, put on your favorite song, and then get up and just shake and move. And then you can sit back down, take some breaths, and then
right.
start again.
That's great. So, thank you for sharing that with everybody. So as we kind of wrap up, let's just make sure that everybody knows how that they can get in contact with
Yes.
you. So Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is at creating light underscore. And then I also have my podcast. It's called Creating Light with Kelsey. So that's searchable on all streaming platforms. I
Okay.
do the videos also go on YouTube, so those are kind of the three main things. But if you have any questions as far as wanting to do the virtual classes, you're feeling called to that 8 month container, hit me up on Instagram. That's the best way to reach out to me right now because I'm revamping the website. So
Got it. Okay. And we'll put all those links in the show notes also. So to Kelsey's Instagram, creating light underscore, and then to your podcast and YouTube. We can put all that in the show notes so people
yeah,
can find you. Well, this has been really great, Kelsey. I really have enjoyed just learning more myself about the somatic activated healing. I really think that it's something that can benefit, so many people. And it's not, it doesn't seem like it's difficult. And it seems like it's something that everybody could, give it a try and,
yeah,
just see how they feel. And so I hope that today, really help people to see this as potentially another option and, get to know you. And so I'm really, just really grateful to have had you here today. And I look forward to following your journey and hopefully can have you on again in the future, right before you're going to launch the
yes,
big
yes for
container, and we
that.
can talk about it a little more.
Yeah, I would love to
All
come back
right.
on,
So
and
thank
thank you for
you.
having me.